Hey guys, it's Lean outside in the sunshine, as you can see. Today is Thursday, 22nd. Oh yeah, it would have been my mom's birthday. So happy birthday. Um, my deck came in the mail. It was really quick. It was actually a week earlier than I expected it to get here. It is a 1801. It's a reprint of an 1801 Tarot de Besançon deck. I have this, the back of the box. Really nice two-part box. I'll put a link in the description to this little chat here, where to the shop where I bought it. This is actually the only Besançon version that they have on offer or on sale. There's a number of Marseille versions that they sell as well, most of which are actually the sort of a reprint of the original decks. So that's the reason that I got me one of these. I got me a Besançon, which has Juno and Jupiter instead of the Papesse and Pap, the High Priestess and Priest cards. Turns out that is the shift. Is they made that choice to use those two cards instead of the standard versions because of sensitivities of people in this area, this age of time. It was just after the French Revolution when this came out, and they had this is from the north of France, the northeast part of France, I should say, and as well as you know south of Germany and Switzerland, where Protestant and Catholic people mixed and not always really well. So the Protestant people would protest against or would mind seeing the Pope in their deck of cards, and the Catholics would mind seeing, the Papessa, the female Pope, because they would consider it to be disrespectful. So, as you can see out there, there's animal noises because I'm at my local petting zoo. My neighbor has a phase where he's drilling and sawing and making noises outside his house, and I just couldn't record. I was going to record a side by side comparing my deck, my new deck, to my Tarot de Marseille mini version that I have. I will just, accompanied by goose noises, I will just try to summarize really quickly so far what I've seen and what I've found with with this deck. I'm really happy that I actually got this deck right now because this hasn't been standardized, and it turns out that my Tarot de Marseille that I've used so far, which I like a lot, which I've said a number of times already, I like it because it's very neutral. This is probably going to be less neutral than that, but it's also not sanitized, if that's the right word. I don't know. It's like I've always felt that the Tarot de Marseille, and certainly the cheap little Grimaud cards that I've got, are the contrast between the colors. They're really primary colors on a white background that are really, it's too basic. Keep having to pause because there's people passing by here, of course, because I'm out in public space, which is weird. Anyway, this does not have, this is a creamy color card, just as the box is this type of color. And the cards, I can just pick out one maybe to show you what it looks like. I'm sitting on a bench here, so yeah, so this is really clumsy. This is the Magician card. I am, for myself, certainly comparing each one of these to the Marseille card, just as it is, and there's already a couple of little differences. So, this card has on its table right there in the middle, there's another card, which is an Ace of Hearts, so a playing card, right? in the Grimaud, the Tarot de Marseille that I was talking about just now, which is right here by my side. If I can just fish it out of the bag. Let me see whether I can do that with one hand. There's actually a pair of dice instead of that playing card. So there's a lot of little subtle differences like that between this type of thing and the Besançon. And well, I don't know if you know this, but I spent a lot of my youth, actually, years of my youth in France. A lot of this revisiting of this territory is sentimental for me because it allows me to be, at least in my mind, in France a bit more, which is not where I am right now. I'm in the Netherlands and it's a very different culture. And one of the determining things of the Dutch culture, I feel, is that we are really closely packed together. There's millions of us, and we're really a very small country. So you have a very high density of population, which you don't have in France or in Germany for that matter. And there's a lot more nature, there's more fields, more trees, per capita than you have over here. Even though this is not so bad. This, I shouldn't complain. I'm not really complaining. This isn't bad. It's, the second half of April, and it's quite spring-like. There's a bit of a fresh breeze from the north, which is why I'm sitting right here and not over at my pond over there, which is normally where I tend to do my little walks and things. Just a bit of a ramble, I suppose. I am enjoying my cards. So far, I haven't done anything to them to the extent that I haven't shuffled or really, tried to engage with them yet because they've just been in for an hour. I suppose what I wanted to say, most of all, what's really striking about this deck, this Tarot Joerger here, is that it's blue color, is a one way of putting it. This is a deck that was used to play a card game, which is still in being practiced in France and in Italy, at least that I do know of. I have occasionally seen, older guys in pubs in the hills in France playing this as a card game. I have no clue at all as to the rules of the card game. I am not really familiar with card games myself. But this deck originally was made for those people. And the aesthetic of it is an aesthetic that is linked to those people. It's made to be more or less recognizable and cheap and affordable. And I suppose the whole endless mythology that we use nowadays as to tarot, with all the esoteric meanings, all the rest of that, is what we've inherited from the Golden Dawn. Rider-Waite, Aleister Crowley, and a lot of other people in that kind of a wavelength, where what we have nowadays are tarot decks that are so complex, and there's endless possibilities, and there's endless need, apparently, for more and more imagery, and tarot decks are brought out every day with a ton of, approaches, all wildly different. And as much as I enjoy those types of decks as well, I have been thinking, when I unpacked my Tarot de Besançon here, my Tarot Joerger, I was looking at the cards and going like, okay, so this is really striking. How strange. Why? This is even more different than I expected it to be. Why is that? And I realized that the decks that I had bought recently, over the past, say, year and a half, 2 years or so, are where I got to learn tarot from, where I got to study how the cards that I got to, that I got to know really well by working with them, are recently the Mystic Masters Tarot from Danny Mystic, the Thoth Tarot by Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris, a couple of others that are a bit more formal. The Mary L, yes, was one of the first ones that I got, and the Sassurabito Tarot. I also have a Tarot Musha, which is, which I've been using recently a few times and really enjoying. In each of those cases, it's just a random selection of my decks that I've, gotten to know fairly well, and that are sort of different sides of myself. That's how I see them. Each deck is a different type of need, really, and that's why we can have this many decks and why we can have this many types of aesthetic, really, is because we have all these needs, and they're all different, and they're all very personal to you. And some people just, need a few different approaches, and it helps, and it's all there's a purpose to each and every one of those. The purpose of the aesthetic, the purpose of the artwork, the purpose of the choice of colors and all the rest of it differs between those decks, between this handful of decks that I mentioned just now. But there's a huge gap, a massive, huge leap from there to a tarot like this one, like this Besançon here. So, because of the different public that uses this and the reasons what they use it for and how and why and so on. So anyway, just a couple of thoughts. I noticed that I'm glad I got this deck because I like the fact that it's cleaned up a bit, but not, it's like the cards aren't that dirty the way the historical, copies are that have been handled by people for 200 years. Those are really grimy often, and the papers, the ink's faded and so on and so forth. So they did something to that to remedy that. Otherwise, it's very close to the original. And distracted because there's little goats, baby goats bouncing around over there. There's a pile of little brown baby goats that I really should show you. Maybe I will at some point later on. You know what baby goats look like, don't you? You know what I look like just as well, so never mind. Otherwise, it's a really nice day. It's PMS time, so I'm still a bit, it's okay. We're just gonna enjoy ourselves one cup of coffee or one cup of tea at a time. Thank you for watching. I hope this is, not too much of a drag to be seeing, and I'll be back probably next week or so. Thank you for watching. See you then. Bye bye.